All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And what I have been doing for the AWD1000 Web Development Technologies class is going through and doing a series of PowerPoint presentations, or videos based on the PowerPoint presentations. I've done Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, except at the end of Chapter 2, we were asked to create this, a very simple little thing that would calculate a letter grade. So I'm going to do that for you right now, and I'm just going to call it calculate letter grade, I guess. So let me start up. This was what we had worked on before. All right. And I'll close that. In fact, let's do a file, save all. And then we will do a file, close solution. And I will start up a new project. It will again be a Windows Forms app. And this one we're going to call calculate. The project name will be calculate letter grade project. And the solution can be calculate letter grade solution. All right. And again, as you saw already, it's a very simple interface, and it's even smaller than this. It's more like this. So we've got calculate letter grade. So let's immediately change the name of our form to FRM calculate letter grade .cs. All right, yes, we want to change it everywhere. There we go. And we want to come up in here and we want to change the text to calculate letter grade. So that's done. Now let's come in and let's immediately add, let's just do this right away. We'll add a label here, and I'm going to immediately change the auto size on that to false. And we'll make that, copy it and paste, and there'll be our next one. Let's make our two text boxes. So there's one. And there's the other one. And then finally, let's make our two buttons. So you can see we've got a very simple interface here. I can even cut this down and this. Leave it like that for now. Okay. All right. So like we did before, let's see if I can split the screen a little bit here and get my picture in here. So there we've got that. And now we've got this. Good. All right, so we've got calculate letter grade. This first one is going to be the number grade, so let's call this LBL number grade. And for the text, we'll put in number grade. And so we've got that. And now for this, let's make this TXT number grade. All right, so that's done. Now let's come over to here. And this is our letter grade, so this will be LBL letter grade. And the text will be simply letter grade. All right, and this can then be, right here, can be TXT letter grade. All right, and finally, we've got our buttons. Our first one is BTN calculate. And it will say calculate. Let's add one more. So we will come in here and we will add a clear button. just because it looks nicer, I think, to have that. So this one will be BTN clear, and it'll have the text on there that will say clear. And then finally, this one will be BTN exit, and it will have the text in there of exit. So let's first, before we save this, let's make sure we didn't miss or not, forget to name anything here. So let's look. And it looks like we got it all except this one. We made that a capital L. That should be LBL, letter grade. One more time, let's check. Maybe I did do that wrong. Let's do this, redo this right here. LBL letter grade. Okay, now I think it's okay. All right, so everything's fine in here. So let's go in and just to show you some magic, so to speak, let's make this a little wider. And let's highlight everything. And with everything highlighted, let's go over to my font like we did before. And let's make the size 18.25. It's going to look a little funky for a minute. Don't worry about that. And we will make the bold a true. Okay, so we've got all that now. All right, well, you can see what happened when I did that. So let's try this again. So I'm going to do these two. We'll make this 18.25 and bold. Let's move this over more so it all shows. There we go. That's what I wanted. And let's do the same with these then. So these two we will also make 18.25 and bold. Okay. All right. Make these line up a little better than where they currently are. So let's see. I think that looks pretty good. And let's go to these. These are going to look funky for a moment again, but don't worry about it. 18.25 and bold. Okay, so let's grab all of these and widen them out. That'll be fine in just a second. There we go. And let's there we are. All right, doesn't look great, but it looks fine. It's very passable, so to speak. All right, so now let's go and highlight everything with a Control A, and then let's lock our controls. All right. Okay, so this will be for our calculate button, and you can see that right there. This will be for our clear button, and you can see that right there. This will be for our exit button. I like to get the exit out of the way first because I use the same code every time. I've already shown you that code, but so I'm not going to go over it, but I will bring it up again. So let me come in here and type in exit button. There that is. So we've got that. And for our clear, we just want to say txt lettergrade.text equals nothing. Txt numbergrade.text equals nothing. And txt lettergrade dot focus. And we're already 2/3 of the way done with this. So let's look. First, let's come in here and let's run this. Don't worry, I'll center it in a second. All right, clear, and it was number grade I was supposed to put here, not letter grade, so that's fine. So number was first. All right, so we should be able to now come in here, try that again. And if I put in something here and something here, and I click clear, there, good, that's good. Exit, no, exit, yes. Okay, so all that stuff is finished. Let's pretty it up just a tad. So we'll make this centered. I'm highlighting them both, and I'm going to text the line, and I'm going to set it to center. That fixed that. All right. And let's do the other stuff that we had done before. So I'm going to click on here, set our default location to center screen. And let's go and do a view. Click back here, view, tab border. And notice, again, we will set that to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do another view tab order. And then finally, we'll click on our form and we'll set our accept button to BTN calculate. And we will set our cancel button to BTN clear. All right, let me save this. And it should come out over here. No, there we go. So it's centered. Calculate won't do anything yet. Clear works. I can also come in, and when I'm clearing here, I should be able to just hit escape. That works. The exit, boom, say no. For the exit, that's the only way we've got it set up, so let's exit. All right. So we are going to pretend in here. We weren't given a lot of requirements, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pretend at least the following. So for calculate, I'm going to say here 90 to 100 equals A, 80 to 89 equals B, 70 to 79 equals C, 60 to 69, to 69 equals D, and 0 to 59 equals F. Now, hopefully you're already seeing, and you probably haven't seen this before unless you've tried it on your own, but I'm going to save this, okay? When we put in things that are out of range right now, we're not handling them, just so you know that. So I'm going to say in here, let's make some variables. So I'm going to say, just so you see it, I'm going to say in here, int number grade equals convert dot 2 and 32 btn, not btn, txt number grade dot text. Okay. All right. Now this will work just fine as long as I put a number in here. So if I put in 33, it works. But notice if I come in here and I put in hello and I click calculate, it's going to give me an error because it's expecting a number and I'm putting in something non-numeric. In the same way, if I ran it again here and I just left it blank and I click calculate, I get the same error. Now, we learn to handle that, but in a later chapter. So don't worry about it for now, okay? And I'm going to introduce something that's way in the future, but just so you see it. I'm going to say here if grade, number grade, is greater than or equal to 90. Well, what do I want to do? I want to say letter grade equal A. Now there's a problem. I didn't make letter grade. And that's a new kind of variable called a string. And it holds just that, something non-numeric. And I'll set it equal to nothing, the empty string. Okay? All right. So here we've got letter grade equal A, and it doesn't like this. Why not? cannot convert type string to type text box because that should be .text. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to copy this, and I'm going way too fast here. But I just want you to see how fast basically we could build an application. So that'll be 8, B, 7, C, whoop, not B, 6, D, and finally 0, F. And believe it or not, after one more line of code here, one more line, I'm going to say here, txt letter grade equal letter grade. We're pretty much done with the program. Okay. What did we put here? Oh, I guess I'd already done it here. So this should just say letter grade. Not .text, just letter grade like that. Okay. Now, probably in my zest to get this done and get it done fairly quickly, I probably have confused you, maybe even lost you. So we will go over all of it, I promise, in just a second. But I want to show you this. So I'm going to run this. It's giving me an error right now. So where is it giving me an error? txt letter grade .text. All right, so let's run it just so you can see this. So you got 100. Your grade was an F. That isn't good. So let's see what the problem is with that. Ah, that should be the word else in front of all of these, and that'll fix it. All right, let's run it again. Then we'll go back and look at the actual text that's in there. 100, you get an A. 89, you get a B. 79, you get a C. 69, you get a D. 59, you get an F. What if I put in here -8? Doesn't give you anything. What if I put in here 2000? Gives you an A, which is wrong. So I could change this to, if it's greater than or equal to 100, oops, and it's less than or equal to, so if it's greater than or equal to 90, and it's less than or equal to 100. Okay. Now notice if I run this, if I put in 2000, I get a B. Well, that doesn't make any sense. I'll tell you what, let's go back and change it to the way it was, and we'll fix that, but in a later lesson. Let's just take a look at our code here, though. All right. So this is our grade range. So I'll put another comment in here that says grade range. It's just something I made up, but it's pretty common. So if you get between 90 and 100, you get an A. If you get between 80 and 89, you get a B. If you get between 70 and 79, you get a C. If you get between 60 and 69, you get a D. If you get between 0 and 59, you get an F. So what this line right here is doing is it's grabbing whatever we put in to that text box right there, and it's putting it into our variable called number grade. Now, notice I've got int there, so int means that it's expecting that to be a whole number. It'll actually, the program will blow up if I put in something that's not a number in there. Okay? This letter grade right here, this is what we're calculating to put in here. So originally we set it equal to nothing. Now we say, if I converted it and it was greater than or equal to 90, then what I want to put in there is an A. Otherwise, so if it's not greater than or equal to 90, if it skips this, that means I don't have to say if it's greater than or equal to 80 and less than or equal to 90, because if it was not less than or equal to 90, it would have caught it here. So all I'm doing in here is I'm checking every possible case. All right? So if it's greater than or equal to 90, you get an A. Otherwise, if this is, so this is 90 and above. Oops. This is actually 80 through 89, which means this one is actually 70 through 79, which means this one is actually 60 through 69. And since I came in here and checked and said greater than or equal to 0, that means this one is 0 through 59. So all I'm doing is I'm looking at the value that was put in there. And if it falls within our range that we've shown here, we give them either an A or a B or a C or a D or an F. Now, how can we make this program a little bit nicer? Well, what if we came in here and did this? What if I came in and created one of those constants and called it min grade, and I set that equal to 0, but I have to let the system know what kind of a grade that variable that is. So const int min grade equals 0, const int max grade equals 100. Okay? So that's expecting, that's the minimum we can get, and that's the maximum we can get. So I could come in here now and say, if number grade is less than the minimum, so less than min grade, or number grade is greater than the maximum, I can put this all on one line, or if I want to make it read a little easier, I can put it on multiple lines. If that's the case, then I can come in here and just say, letter grade, txt letter grade dot text equals invalid input. And I want to get out, so I just put in the word return. Now, invalid input, that text is going to be bigger than the size that we made these things. So let me unlock these and make them a little wider, like that. But now look what we've done. Now if I come in here and I put in something that is negative, for example, invalid input. If I come back in here and put in something too big, invalid input. All right, so now if I've got anything greater than 100, it won't take it. And if I've got anything less than 0, it won't take it. So now, just by adding a little bit of code in there, let's go over this one more time. And again, I'm not trying to confuse you at all. Maybe I am confusing you, but believe me, it's not on purpose. But just look through this and see if, as we step through it, if it makes sense to you. All right? So, we're telling it to read that, and if it's numeric, and if it's less than 0 or greater than 100, right in there, invalid input. Otherwise, if it's a number in there that's 90 through 100, put an A here. 80 through 89, put a B here. 70 through 79, put a C here. 60 through 69, put a D here. Finally, 0 to 59, put an F here. All right, you've already seen this. This, again, is our interface. So that's what happens when you click Calculate. Clear clears this, and it puts the cursor right there. Exit allows you to exit the program. Okay. Now, I want to show you one last thing. Let me check my time here. I'm at 25 minutes, so I should be fine. Hopefully what I'm about to show you won't take too long. All right. I'm going to go and grab virtually all my code from in this calculate part. Just that code. You see, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? You're gonna see in about 2 minutes. So I'm going to copy that to the clipboard. Now I'm going to do a file, save all. All right. And now I'm going to close this, and I'm going to close this. But what I'm going to do is I want to rewrite this, not as a GUI app like you just saw, but as what's called a console app. So I'm going to right mouse click on my solution and choose Add New Project. And this will be a console app. So I'm going to type in console over here. And I want consoleapp.net framework. Okay. And I'm going to call this Calculate Letter Grade Console. I don't have to give it a location, it already knows. So click Create. Now this is going to look a lot different. It's like, what the heck is this stuff here? Well, you're going to see it in just a moment, okay? I'm going to get a bunch of errors when I paste this in. They'll all be fixed in a minute. I want to first come in and I want to grab these variables. And I want to put them up on the top of my program. I don't have to do that, but it's the way I decided to do it. Okay? In fact, I'm just going to say here, I'll make that equal to 0 so that doesn't break. Okay? There. So we've got an integer for our number grade and a string for our letter grade, just like we saw before. Okay? All right. We have our same thing in here that we had before, but now we want to change this. We're going to ask the user, we're going to say this. Console.writeLine, please enter number grade, and we'll let them know it should be 0 through 100. Okay, and we'll put a blank space there. All right, now we're going to say console.readLine. Okay, now I'm going to come back and do the same kind of thing that we did before, but this is going to say number grade equals convert.to int 32 console.readLine. Okay, doesn't like something in here, but we're going to fix it. And again, I am not trying to confuse anybody. I probably really am, but I'm not trying to. So console.writeLine. See, what doesn't it like here? An object reference is required for a non-static field. Okay, I've got to type here static. And I've got to type here static. Okay, there we go. Now all that done stuff is done. If what we put is out of range, we're going to just say here WriteLine invalid input, and we're going to return. That has to be console.writeLine. All right, now we're going to come in here and we're going to say, now notice all those errors are gone except for this one. And this one will just say WriteLine letter grade. And space there, and this will have to say console.writeLine. And all my errors are gone. Now, let's pretty this up just a little bit. So that'll say invalid input. Okay. Let's see. and we'll put in here. There we go. All right, now I have no idea doing this literally off the top of my head, but let's run it. Oh, it's going to look the same, and I don't want it to. So I have to tell the system which program here I wanted to write. I wanted to write this console one. So I right mouse click on it, and I choose Set as Startup Project. Now watch how it looks different. There's what we had from before, enter number grade. If I put something out of range in there, oh. Jeff. I need to put in here console.readline. It actually worked, but it made the program disappear, for lack of better words. And here, this will be right instead of write line. It's okay. Let's run it again. All right. So please enter a number grade. If I put something out of range in there, -3. What are you doing? Doggone you. Oh, I got the return in there. That's why you're not seeing it. Okie dokie. So let's put a read line in here. Oops. And then we'll put in a return. So this has got to be console.readline. All right, let's try it again. So, -3. Invalid input. Okay. If we put in something that's too big, 200. Try that again, because I put in 200, but then I hit a bad key. Try it again. 200. Invalid input. Okay, so that works. Let's try the same ones we tried before. So, 100. A. There it is. I know it's a little hard to read, but that's not a problem. All right, run it again. 89, and it says B. Run it again. 79, and it says C. Run it again. In fact, let's make it so you can read that a little easier. Okay, so how about a 59? Your grade is F. Okay, and we'll learn how to put code in here to make this run over and over and over again without stopping. Point is, now it works. This is a console application. So what's different? Well, this stuff was the same. That was exactly the same. This was the same, except since we've got this special routine in here that's called main, we have to put static if we refer to stuff out of here that's going to be in main. If you say that confuses me, then I could have just pulled this out of here. This will give me errors, but I'll fix them right away. And put them in here, and then I can remove the word static if I wanted to do that. And the program will still work just fine. There's no errors in my error window here. So here are my constants. I didn't even have to put those out there. I could have put those in main also. We'll go over in class why I wrote this the way that I wrote it. Okay? So here's our constant. So that's the minimum allowable grade. So let's put a comment in here. Minimum allowable grade. And that's the maximum. Allowable grade. Okay, here's our grade range. So this literally is what it says it is here. So in other words, this right here is the number grade. And here is the associated letter grade. Okay, so we prompt the user to enter a number grade. Right there. That's what we're doing. And then in here, we're actually read in the number grade. Anything that we read in is what's a string. We're attempting to read it in and convert it to an integer, which means it's a whole number. Okay? If input was numeric, but out of range, i.e. less than 0 or greater than 100, give an error message and return, which is exactly what we're doing right here. So if we get to this point, so the number grade inputted was between 0 and 100. All right, so what we want to do is we want to calculate the associated letter grade. And that's what we're doing here. This means 90 and above. This means 80 to 89. This means 70 to 79. This means 60 to 69 and 0 to 59. So here we output the associated letter grade. All right. And then we basically pause. Okay. So that's everything. Now I did that quickly. We will do this program again in class, but you have it now if you need to or want to go back and take a look at it. And I've also shown you in here how we can actually create two different projects. We've got our Calculate Letter Grade project and our Calculate Letter Grade console. That really should have been called GUI instead of project. GUI for Graphical User Interface. And that's all I wanted to say. So this is the end of Part 2. Be back with Part 3 momentarily.